Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the starship Phoenix Rising and looked out at the massive space station ahead. After 50 years of dreaming, humanity was finally here. The Galactic Council's home base was bigger than any city. On Earth, thousands of ships from hundreds of different worlds moved around it like busy insects. "Sir, we're getting the signal to dock," said Captain Ryan Foster, Jake's second in command. Ryan had been nervous for weeks about this meeting. Everyone on Earth was counting on them. Jake nodded. "Take us in slowly. We want to make a good first impression." The Phoenix Rising was humanity's best ship. It had taken 20 years to build and represented everything humans had learned about space travel. But next to the alien ships around them, it looked like a child's toy. Some of the Council ships were so big they could hold entire cities. Others were made of materials that seemed to bend light itself. Ambassador Lisa Grant joined Jake at the eye. Front window. She was Earth's top diplomat and had spent her whole life preparing for this moment. "The Council has agreed to hear our request for membership," she said. "This is our only chance." "No pressure," Ryan muttered under his breath. As they docked, Jake could see alien beings moving through the transparent corridors of the station. Some walked on two legs like humans. Others floated in bubbles of water or crawled on multiple limbs. The diversity was amazing and terrifying at the same time. The docking process took 3 hours. Everything had to be checked and approved by Council security. Finally, they were allowed to board the station. Jake, Lisa, and Ryan walked through corridors filled with the strangest sights and sounds they had ever experienced. The Council chambers were enormous. Thousands of seats arranged in circles rose up like a great amphitheater. Representatives from over 200 different species sat in special environments suited to their biology. Some breathed different gases. Others lived in high-pressure tanks. A few seemed to be made of pure energy. At the center of it all was the speakers podium where Lisa would present humanity's case. Jake felt his heart beating fast as they walked toward their assigned seats. The eyes, sensors, and other organs of hundreds of alien beings followed their every move. "The Council recognizes the delegation from Earth," announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You may present your request." Lisa walked to the podium with steady steps, but Jake could see her hands shaking slightly. She had practiced this speech 1,000 times, but nothing could have prepared her for this moment. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Humanity comes before you today, seeking membership in your great alliance. We offer our knowledge, our friendship, and our commitment to peace among all species." She activated a holographic display that showed Earth's achievements, cities that touched the clouds, art and music from every culture, scientific discoveries that had unlocked the secrets of space travel, medical advances that had ended disease and extended human life. "We have overcome war and hatred on our world," Lisa continued. "We have learned to work together despite our differences. We believe we can contribute to the Council's mission of bringing peace and prosperity to the galaxy." Jake watched the alien faces around them. Some seemed interested, others looked bored. A few showed expressions he couldn't read at all. The presentation continued for an hour, showing humanity's best qualities and greatest achievements. When Lisa finished, the chamber fell silent. Then a crystalline being that looked like living diamond rose from its seat. This was Vextar, the Council's lead xenobiologist. His voice rang like breaking glass. "The Council thanks the human delegation for their presentation," Vextar said. "However, our research into your species has revealed concerning information." Jake felt his stomach drop. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Vextar activated his own holographic display. Images of human wars filled the chamber. Battles from throughout history, nuclear weapons, destroyed cities, Your species has a long history of violence and destruction. In your brief existence, you have fought thousands of wars and killed billions of your own kind. That's in our past, Lisa protested. We've changed. We've grown. Have you? Vextar's form pulsed with different colors. Our intelligence agents have intercepted your military communications. Even now, your ships carry weapons. Your generals make plans for war. You prepare for conflict with us before you even know if we will accept you. The chamber erupted in alien sounds that Jake assumed were expressions of shock and dismay. He looked at Ryan, who had gone pale. It was true. Earth's military had prepared for every possibility, including the chance that first contact might go wrong. Your species is unpredictable, continued another council member, a floating jellyfish-like creature. You adapt too quickly. You learn too fast. You are dangerous. We've seen species like yours before, added a being that looked like a walking tree. They always bring chaos. They disrupt the peace we have worked so hard to build. Jake stood up. You're judging us by our past, not our potential. Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, we've fought wars. But we've also created beauty, explored the unknown, and never given up hope. Isn't that worth something? Vextar's crystal form grew brighter. The Council has made its decision. Humanity's request for membership is denied. Furthermore, human ships are banned from entering Council space. You will return to your world immediately and make no further contact. The words hit Jake like a physical blow. Around the chamber, alien representatives voiced their agreement. The vote wasn't even close. It was unanimous rejection. This is a mistake, Lisa said, her voice barely above a whisper. We could have been allies. We could have helped each other. The decision is final, Vextar replied. Guards will escort you to your ship. As they walked back through the corridors, Jake felt the weight of failure crushing down on him. 50 years of preparation. Humanity's greatest dream. All destroyed in a single afternoon. But as the Phoenix Rising pulled away from the station, something changed inside Jake's heart. The disappointment was still there, but it was mixed with something else. Anger. Determination. If the galaxy wouldn't accept humanity as they were, then maybe it was time to show them what humanity could become. Set course for Earth, he told. Ryan, we need to make some plans. Ryan looked at him strangely. What kind of plans? Jake stared out at the stars. The kind that will make them regret this day. 5 years had passed since the rejection. President Catherine Wells stood in front of the United Earth Assembly, looking out at representatives from every nation on the planet. The Great Hall was packed with people who had come to hear about humanity's future. My fellow humans, she began, the Galactic Council has made their choice. They see us as dangerous and unpredictable. They want us to stay in our corner of space and never bother them again. Angry voices rose from the crowd. Some people wanted to build weapons and force the Council to accept them. Others thought humanity should just give up and focus on Earth. But Catherine had a different idea. We will not hide in shame, she declared. We will not beg for acceptance. Instead, we will forge our own path among the stars. Today, I announce the Horizon Initiative. Humanity will explore the unknown regions of space and build something magnificent. In the back of the hall, Dr. Alex Turner smiled. He had been waiting 5 years for this moment. Alex was Earth's best expert on alien archaeology, and he had discovered something amazing in the Outer Rim territories. Ancient ruins on dozens of worlds, left behind by a civilization that existed millions of years ago. After the president's speech, Alex met with the mission planners. The ruins I found aren't random, he explained, spreading star charts across the table. They're connected in a pattern. These ancient beings, whoever they were, built something huge out there. General Marcus Stone studied the charts with military eyes. Marcus was in charge of protecting the expedition, and he didn't like sending civilians into unknown space. It's dangerous out there. No council patrols, no rescue ships, no backup. If something goes wrong, that's exactly why we need to go, said Dr. Susan Blake, the mission's chief scientist. Susan was brilliant but stubborn, and she had been fascinated by alien technology since she was a child. The council thinks those regions are worthless. That gives us freedom to explore without interference. The preparations took 2 years. Humanity built the largest fleet they had ever assembled. Colony ships carried families ready to start new lives among the stars. Research vessels were packed with scientists eager to unlock alien mysteries. Military escorts provided protection against unknown dangers. Colonel Beth Carter commanded the ground forces that would establish humanity's first settlements. Beth was tough as steel and had volunteered for the most dangerous mission in human history. She handpicked soldiers who were brave enough to face the unknown. The fleet launched on a cold morning in March. 50 ships, carrying 100,000 people, left Earth's orbit and headed for the edge of known space. As they traveled, Alex continued studying the alien ruins through long-range sensors. "I'm calling them the precursors," he told the senior staff during a meeting. They were incredibly advanced. Their technology is millions of years ahead of anything the Council has today. "Are they still alive?" asked Beth. As a soldier, she always thought about potential threats. "I don't think so," Alex replied. "But their machines might be. Some of the ruins show signs of automated systems still running after all this time." 3 months later, the fleet reached their destination. It was a star system at the very edge of the galaxy, far from any Council territory. The system had 7 planets, and one of them looked perfect for human life. Beth's teams were the first to land. They set up a base camp near one of the precursor ruins and began exploring. What they found was beyond anyone's wildest dreams. The ruins weren't just buildings. They were machines. Vast networks of technology that had been waiting in silence for millions of years. As Susan's teams began careful excavations, the ancient systems started responding to their presence. "It's like they're recognizing us," Susan reported to the fleet. "The machines are activating, but they're not hostile. They're curious." The breakthrough came when Alex discovered a control chamber deep beneath the main ruins. The room was filled with floating symbols that responded to touch. When he accidentally activated one of them, the entire complex came to life. Lights blazed throughout the ruins. Hidden passages opened. Most importantly, a massive ring-shaped structure in the center of the complex began to glow with impossible energy. "It's some kind of gateway," Susan explained to the amazed colonists. "The energy readings are off the charts. I think it connects to other precursor sites." General Stone was nervous about activating unknown alien technology, but the scientific teams convinced him to let them try. They spent weeks studying the gateway, learning how it worked, and making sure it was safe. The first test was incredible. The gateway opened a tunnel through space itself, connecting their world to another precursor site hundreds of light years away. Unmanned probes sent through the gateway found another world with more ruins, more technology, and more gateways. "We've found a network," Alex announced to the growing colony. The precursors built gateways connecting dozens, maybe hundreds of worlds. It's like a highway system spanning the galaxy. As more gateways were activated, humanity began to spread across the precursor network. Each world they found was different. Some had valuable minerals. Others had perfect conditions for farming. A few contained precursor technology that made human scientists weep with joy. The world they named Haven became humanity's first major colony outside Earth. Beth's military forces established security while civilian teams built cities. Scientists worked day and night to understand precursor technology and adapt it for human use. "We're not just finding ruins," Susan reported during a video call to Earth. "We're finding the keys to technologies that could change everything. Faster than light travel, unlimited energy, materials stronger than anything we've ever imagined." But the most important discovery came from Alex's team. Deep in the precursor archives, they found records left behind by the ancient civilization. The writings told a story of a species that had grown beyond physical existence, choosing to become beings of pure thought and energy. "They didn't die out," Alex explained to President Wells during a secure transmission. "They evolved. They left all this technology behind as a gift for whoever came after them. It's like they were waiting for someone worthy to inherit their legacy." As months passed, humanity's hidden empire grew. Ships moved through the Gateway Network, carrying colonists to new worlds and bringing back resources and knowledge. The military built defensive positions to protect their secret from Council discovery. "We're building something the Council never imagined possible," General Stone reported to Earth. "A civilization that spans the galaxy, hidden in the shadows and growing stronger every day." Back on Earth, President Wells watched reports from the colonies with growing excitement. Humanity had been rejected by the galaxy, cast aside as too dangerous to join civilized society. But that rejection had forced them to become something greater. "Let the Council keep their little corner of space," she told her advisors. "We're building an empire that will span the stars. And when the time comes to reveal ourselves, they'll learn what humanity is truly capable of." In the depths of space, far from Council territory, humanity's secret empire continued to grow. The Gateway Network connected world after world, each one adding to their growing power. The precursors had left behind the tools for galactic dominance. Now humanity would use them to build something magnificent. 20 years had passed since humanity first discovered the precursor network. What started as a desperate escape from galactic rejection had become something magnificent. Admiral Jennifer Brooks stood on the bridge of the starship Defiance and marveled at what humanity had built. The ship around her was a perfect blend of human creativity and precursor technology. Its hull was made from materials that could repair themselves. Its engines could bend space-time to travel faster than anything the Council possessed. Its weapons could crack planets open like eggs. "Admiral, we're approaching Forge," reported her navigation officer. "The orbital shipyards are requesting permission to show you the new fleet." Jennifer smiled. Forge had become humanity's primary industrial world, and the sight of it never failed to amaze her. The planet was covered in massive factories that ran day and night. Orbital platforms stretched for thousands of miles, building ships that would have seemed impossible just a few. Decades ago, dot engineer Kyle Mitchell met Jennifer at the main observation deck. Kyle was the genius behind humanity's manufacturing revolution. He had figured out how to combine precursor self-replication technology with human mass production techniques. "We're building ships faster than ever," Kyle explained as they watched. "The assembly lines work. The precursor manufacturing systems can create an entire fleet in the time it used to take us to build one ship. And every vessel is better than the last." Below them, hundreds of ships were under construction. Battleships that could take on entire Council fleets. Carriers that launched fighter squadrons numbered in the thousands. Exploration vessels that could travel to the edge of the universe. "How many worlds are we connected to now?" Jennifer asked. 57 active colonies, Kyle replied. Each one specialized for different needs. "We have mining worlds, research stations, agricultural planets, and military bases. The Gateway Network lets us move resources instantly between any of them." From Forge, Jennifer traveled to Nexus 7, humanity's primary research facility. The world was dedicated entirely to unlocking precursor mysteries. Dr. Amy Rodriguez, the chief scientist, gave Jennifer a tour of the latest discoveries. "We've learned incredible things about the precursors," Amy explained as they walked through. "Laboratories filled with impossible technology. They weren't just advanced, they were transcendent. They found a way to exist beyond physical reality." She led Jennifer to a chamber containing what looked like a floating crystal. "This is a precursor. Memory core. It contains the thoughts and experiences of beings who lived millions of years ago. We're still learning how to access the information safely. What have you found so far?" Jennifer asked. Amy's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Everything. Star. Charts that map the entire galaxy. Scientific principles that revolutionize our understanding of physics. Cultural records that show us civilizations we never imagined. And warnings about dangers that still exist out there. The most important research was happening in the deepest levels of the facility." Amy led Jennifer to a heavily guarded chamber where teams worked on humanity's most secret project. Inside, scientists were building weapons and defenses based on pure precursor technology. "The Council thinks their energy shields and plasma weapons make them powerful," Amy said quietly. "They have no idea what real power looks like. We're developing systems that could destroy entire star systems or protect them from any attack." Captain Scott Adams ran humanity's intelligence division from a hidden base in Council space. His agents, disguised as traders and researchers, moved freely through alien worlds gathering information. What they reported painted a troubling picture of galactic civilization. "The Council isn't as peaceful as they pretend," Scott explained. During a secure transmission to Admiral Brooks, there are constant border wars between member species, trade disputes that turn violent, political factions that would destroy each other if they thought they could get away with it. The intelligence reports revealed something else important. The Council's military was weaker than they wanted the galaxy to believe. Their ships were impressive looking, but used outdated technology. Their tactics relied on overwhelming numbers rather than superior strategy. "They've grown soft," Scott continued. "Centuries of easy victories against primitive species have made them overconfident. They've never faced an enemy that could match their technology and exceed their creativity." At the heart of humanity's hidden empire was Sanctuary, a world that served as the command center for all operations. Director Paul Turner coordinated everything from this heavily defended planet. His office contained communication arrays that could reach any human settlement instantly. "We've built something remarkable," Paul reported during the annual council meeting. Representatives from every human world attended through holographic projection. 57 colonies, each contributing to our growing strength. Our population has grown to over 50 million people. Our technology surpasses anything the Council possesses. President Helen Carter, daughter of the original colonist Beth Carter, now led humanity's government. She had grown up among the stars and understood the galaxy in ways her parents never could. Under her leadership, humanity had evolved from desperate refugees to the galaxy's most powerful hidden civilization. "The question now is what we do with this power," Helen said during the meeting. "We could remain hidden forever, building our strength in secret. Or we could reveal ourselves and claim our rightful place in the galaxy." The debate was intense. Some leaders, like Admiral Nathan Clark, wanted to stay hidden until humanity was strong enough to dominate the entire galaxy. Others, led by Dr. Lavra Hayes, believed humanity had a responsibility to use their power to help others. "We're not conquerors," Lavra argued. "We're protectors. The precursors left us their technology because they saw something special in humanity. We shouldn't waste that gift on revenge." But Admiral Clark disagreed. "The Council rejected us. They called us dangerous and unpredictable. Maybe it's time to show them they were right to fear us. As the debate continued, Paul Turner monitored intelligence reports from across the galaxy. Trade wars were escalating between council members. Several species were developing weapons that violated galactic law. Pirates raided shipping lanes while council forces failed to stop them. The galaxy is becoming unstable, Paul reported to President Carter. The council's authority is weakening. Species are choosing sides for conflicts that could tear their civilization apart. But the most troubling reports came from the galactic rim. Scout ships reported strange energy signatures in unexplored space. Something was moving out there, something big and hostile. The Council's border patrols were disappearing. Without sending distress signals, Dr. Hayes made a discovery that changed everything. Deep in the Precursor archives, she found records of an ancient enemy, a species of warrior insects that consumed entire worlds to fuel their expansion. The Precursors called them the Drakari Swarm. They were the reason the Precursors chose transcendence, Lara explained to the emergency council session. The swarm was too dangerous to fight with conventional means. So the Precursors evolved beyond physical existence and waited for someone else to inherit the responsibility. The records contained detailed information about swarm tactics and biology. They were a hive mind that thought as one organism. Their ships were grown rather than built, able to adapt to any weapon used against them. They didn't just conquer worlds, they stripped them bare of all life. The swarm has been dormant for millions of years, Lavra continued. But the energy signatures our scouts detected match precursor records. They're waking up. And when they do, nothing in this galaxy will be able to stop them except us. Admiral Brooks studied the tactical reports with growing concern. How long do we have? Months, maybe a year, Lavra replied. The swarm will test the galaxy's defenses with small raids first. When they realize how weak the Council has become, they'll launch a full invasion. President Carter looked around the council chamber at the faces of humanity's leaders. They had spent 20 years building power in secret. Now it seemed that power would be tested sooner than anyone expected. Then we prepare for war, she decided. Alert all colonies, begin full military production, and start planning for the day we reveal ourselves to the galaxy. Admiral Clark leaned forward in his chair. What if the Council still rejects us? What if they refuse our help? Helen Carter's expression was grim but determined. Then they'll learn what happens when you underestimate humanity. We'll save the galaxy whether they want us to or not. In the depths of space, humanity's secret empire prepared for its greatest test. The builders became warriors. The hidden became revealed. And the species the galaxy had rejected prepared to become its salvation. The first reports came from the Outer Rim territories. Council patrol ships simply vanishing without a trace. Then entire colonies went silent. When scout ships finally reached the affected systems, they found nothing but dead worlds stripped of all life. Admiral Kethver of the proud Zenthari Empire stood in the Council's military command center watching the disaster unfold. The holographic display showed red zones spreading across the galactic map like a disease. Each red zone marked another world lost to the unknown enemy. How many ships have we lost? Asked Elder Zareth of the Etherians, her crystalline form, pulsing with concern. 47 patrol vessels and 6 battle fleets, Kethvar replied grimly. Whatever we're facing, it's like nothing we've encountered before. Our weapons barely scratch their ships. Our shields can't stop their attacks. On the display, new footage appeared from the Zenthari world of Korvax Prime. The planet's orbital defenses were engaging a fleet of organic-looking ships that seemed to be alive. The alien vessels moved like swimming creatures rather than mechanical constructs. They're biological, observed Dr. Veltek, the Council's chief xenobiologist. The ships appear to be grown rather than built. They adapt to our weapons in real time. Energy blasts that destroyed the first ships are completely ineffective against later waves. The footage showed Xanthari battleships firing everything they had at the alien swarm. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and quantum torpedoes struck the enemy vessels. Some of the alien ships were destroyed in the first attacks, but others seemed to absorb the damage and become stronger. How is that possible? Demanded Kethver. Biological adaptation, Dr. Veltek explained. These creatures learn from each attack. They modify their defenses to counter whatever weapons we use. It's like fighting an enemy that becomes immune to your tactics in real time. The battle for Korvax Prime lasted 6 hours. The Xanthari fleet, considered the most powerful military force in the galaxy, was completely destroyed. The planet's population of 2 billion people simply disappeared. Scanning revealed that all organic matter on the world had been consumed. They don't just conquer, whispered Elder Zareth. They devour everything. More reports flooded in from across the Rim territories. The Aquarian waterworlds were drained completely dry. The silicon-based crystalline collective's home planets were stripped of all mineral content. Even energy-based life forms were somehow absorbed by the invaders. The Council's emergency session was chaos. Representatives from hundreds of species demanded action, but no one knew what to do. Every military strategy they tried failed. The enemy adapted faster than the Council could develop new tactics. We need to evacuate the core worlds, suggested Ambassador Thren of the Avian Republic. Pull back our fleets and defend only the most important systems. And abandon billions of people? Kethver slammed his fist on the table. The Xanthari do not retreat. We fight until victory or death. Then you'll choose death, said a cold voice from the chamber's entrance. Captain Scott Adams walked into the room, still wearing his traitor's disguise. After years of intelligence work, he had finally revealed himself to the Council. The chamber erupted in confusion. Security forces moved to arrest the unknown human. But Scott raised his hands peacefully. I'm here to offer help, not cause trouble. Human! Kethver spat the word like a curse. How dare you enter these sacred chambers? Your species was banned from Council space decades ago. Scott smiled grimly. My species has been watching the galaxy for 20 years. We know about your wars, your politics, and your weaknesses. We also know about the Drakari swarm. The chamber fell silent. Dr. Veltok leaned forward in his seat. What did you call them? The Drakari swarm. That's their real name. They're an ancient enemy that has been dormant for millions of years. The species that came before you fought them once and barely survived. Scott activated a holographic projector hidden in his clothes. Images appeared showing precursor records about the swarm, ancient battles, destroyed civilizations, technologies specifically designed to fight the biological invaders. You know about them? Elder Zareth's voice was filled with hope. You have weapons that can stop them? We have something better, Scott replied. We have the will to use them. Admiral Nathan Clark's fleet materialized around Proxima Central, just as the swarm's advance forces reached the heavily defended world. The Council's remaining battleships were making their last stand when space itself seemed to tear open. 50 human ships dropped out of quantum fold space with an elegance that defied physics. They were sleek, deadly, and clearly advanced beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Their hulls seemed to absorb light, making them look like holes cut in space itself. Unknown vessels, identify yourselves, transmitted the Xanthari fleet commander. This is Admiral Nathan Clark of the Human Stellar Federation, came the reply. We are here to help. The swarm bioships immediately turned toward the new arrivals. Their previous battles had taught them that council ships were easy prey. These new vessels would provide more biomass for the collective. What followed was unlike any battle in galactic history. The swarm ships launched acid pods that could eat through any known armor. The human ships' hulls simply regenerated faster than the acid could damage them. Swarm biobeams that had melted Xanthari. Battleships were absorbed by human energy shields and converted into weapon power. Human ships moved with impossible grace, dancing between swarm attacks while delivering precise strikes. Their weapons were unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Quantum disruptors that broke molecular bonds. Gravitational cannons that crushed enemy ships into singularities. Energy fields that turned biological matter back into basic elements. How are they doing that? Whispered the Xanthari commander as he watched human fighters weave through the swarm fleet like deadly dancers. Admiral Clark's flagship, the Retribution, faced off against the swarm's command vessel. The bioship was massive, easily 10 times larger than any Council battleship. It launched every weapon it possessed at the human vessel. The Retribution's shields absorbed the attacks without strain. Then it returned fire with a single shot from its main cannon. The beam struck the swarm command ship and simply erased it from existence. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. Impossible, breathed Dr. Veltak as he watched the sensor readings. That level of energy output should be impossible to achieve. The battle lasted less than an hour. Every swarm ship was destroyed without a single human casualty. As the last biovessel died, Admiral Clark opened communications to the stunned Council forces. The immediate threat to Proxima Central has been eliminated, he announced. But this is just the beginning. The main swarm fleet is still coming, and you're not prepared to face them. Cathvar found his voice first. Who are you? Where did you get such weapons? We're the species you rejected 40 years ago, Clark replied. The ones you called too dangerous for galactic society. Turns out you were right to fear us, just not in the way you thought. On the Council station, Scott Adams was explaining humanity's proposal to the emergency assembly. We know where the main swarm fleet is gathering. We know their tactics and weaknesses. We can stop them, but we need your cooperation. What do you want in return? Asked Elder Zareth. Recognition, Scott replied simply. Full membership in the Galactic Council. Formal apology for your rejection of humanity, and acknowledgement that you are wrong about us. The debate was brief. With swarm bioships destroying entire star systems, the Council had little choice. Within hours, they agreed to humanity's terms. Admiral Clark's fleet began moving from system to system, hunting down swarm forces with terrifying efficiency. Each battle was swift and decisive. Human weapons cut through biological defenses like they were made of paper. But the most shocking moment came when the main swarm fleet finally arrived. Millions of bioships dropped out of warp space near the Council's capital world. The armada was so large it blocked out the Stardot, and humanity's true fleet revealed itself. 1,000 ships materialized around the swarm fleet. Massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything the Council had ever built. Carrier vessels that launched fighter swarms numbered in the millions. Command ships that coordinated the battle with precision no biological mind could match. This is Admiral Jennifer Brooks. Of the Human Stellar Federation came the transmission. Drakari Swarm, you are not welcome in this galaxy. Surrender or be destroyed. The swarm's only response was to attack with everything they had. Billions of bioprojectiles filled space. Acid clouds that could dissolve planets. Gravitational weapons that twisted space-time itself. The human fleet's response was devastating. They didn't just fight the swarm, they dominated it. Every alien tactic was countered. Every biological adaptation was overwhelmed. In 6 hours, humanity destroyed an invasion force that had taken millions of years to build out as the last swarm ship died. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The species they had rejected as too dangerous had just saved them all. Admiral Brooks opened communications to the entire galaxy. "This is humanity's gift to the Galactic Council. We could have let you face the swarm alone. We could have watched your civilization burn. Instead, we chose to protect you." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The next time you meet a species seeking membership, remember this day. Remem." 3 months after the swarm's defeat, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. The same council chambers that had once rejected humanity now hosted their most important diplomatic mission in galactic history. Ambassador Robert Hayes walked through the corridors where his people had been humiliated 40 years earlier. But this time, he wasn't walking alone. 100 human ships orbited the station as his escort. Every alien being they passed stopped to stare at the representatives of the species that had saved them all. The council chambers had been reconfigured for this historic meeting. At the center, where the speaker's podium once stood, was a new seating area designed specifically for humanity. The message was clear. Humans were no longer petitioners begging for acceptance. They were equals demanding recognition. President Helen Carter entered the chamber with quiet dignity. She wore simple clothes rather than elaborate ceremonial robes, but her presence commanded attention from every being in the vast amphitheater. Behind her walked the heroes who had made this moment possible. Admiral Nathan Clark, the man who had first revealed humanity's power. Dr. Laver Hayes, whose research had prepared them for the swarm invasion. General Brian Miller, who had coordinated the military campaign that saved countless worlds. Each carried themselves with the quiet confidence of people who had proven their worth through action. Across from them sat the council's leadership. Kethvar of the Zenthari looked like he had aged decades in just a few months. His proud empire's entire fleet had been destroyed by enemies that humans defeated with ease. Elder Zareth of the Etherians pulsed with colors that indicated deep shame and regret. The Galactic Council recognizes the delegation from the Human Stellar Federation, announced the chamber's automated systems. The formal words carried weight that had been absent 40 years earlier. President Carter rose to address the assembly. When she spoke, her voice carried to every corner of the massive chamber without strain or amplification. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began, 40 years ago, you judged humanity unworthy of membership in your alliance. You called us dangerous and unpredictable. You banned us from your space and told us never to return. The chamber was silent except for the quiet sounds of alien breathing and life support systems. You were right about one thing, Carter continued. We are dangerous. The Drakari swarm learned that lesson too late. Every enemy that threatens innocent life will learn it eventually. She gestured to the holographic displays that showed the aftermath of humanity's intervention. Dozens of worlds that would have been consumed by the swarm were now safe. Billions of beings owed their lives to human protection. But you were wrong about our character, Carter said. You saw our history of conflict and assumed we were warlike. By nature, you didn't see that every war we fought taught us the value of peace. Every mistake we made drove us to become better. Admiral Clark stepped forward to present the detailed account of humanity's secret development. Star charts showing the 57 worlds they had colonized. Industrial reports proving their technological superiority. Military records demonstrating their overwhelming power. For 40 years, we have built an empire in the shadows, Clark announced. We could have revealed ourselves at any time. We could have demanded recognition through force. Instead, we waited until you needed us most. The revelations sent shockwaves. Through the council, humanity hadn't just survived their rejection. They had thrived beyond anyone's imagination. While council species squabbled over trade routes, humans had mastered technologies that made them masters of the galaxy. How? Asked Dr. Veltok, the xenobiologist who had been part of humanity's original rejection. How did you advance so far? So quickly? Dr. Hayes stood to answer. We found teachers you didn't know existed. The precursors left behind more than ruins and artifacts. They left behind a gift for species worthy enough to inherit it. She activated a holographic display showing the gateway network that connected human worlds. The assembled aliens gasped as they realized the scope of what humanity had discovered and built. The precursors faced the same enemy we just defeated, Hayes explained. They prepared weapons and defenses specifically designed to stop the swarm, but they also left behind something more important, the tools to build a better civilization. The displays showed human cities that blended technology with nature. Orbital. Habitats that housed millions in perfect harmony. Industrial centers that produced abundance without pollution or waste. This is what you rejected, President Carter said quietly. Not just our membership, but our potential. Not just our present, but our future. Elder Zareth rose from her crystalline seat, her form pulsing with patterns that indicated deep emotional distress. The council, he made a terrible mistake. We judged you by fear instead of hope. We saw danger where we should have seen strength. Words are easy, replied Admiral Clark. What matters now is action. Ambassador Hayes presented humanity's formal demands. The Council would issue a public apology for their rejection of humanity. They would grant humans full membership with voting power proportional to their population and territory. Most importantly, they would acknowledge humanity's right to exist as equals, not as junior partners. The debate that followed revealed deep divisions within the Council. Some species, led by the Etherians, genuinely regretted their earlier decision and wanted to make amends. Others, particularly the Xanthari military faction, struggled to accept that the species they had dismissed was now their superior. This is humiliation, muttered Commander Thekvar, Kethver's younger brother. They demand we bow before them, like conquered subjects. General Miller overheard the comment and turned to face the Xanthari officer. We demand nothing but respect. The same respect you should have shown us 40 years ago. Respect must be earned, Thekvar replied arrogantly. Miller's expression remained calm, but every human in the chamber tensed. We earned it when we saved your homeworld from the swarm. We earned it when we destroyed an enemy that wiped out half your fleet in a single battle. We earned it when we chose to protect you instead of letting you face extinction. The confrontation was interrupted by Captain Lisa Anderson, who entered the chamber carrying a data pad filled with disturbing intelligence reports. President Carter, she said urgently, our long-range sensors have detected something you need to see. The holographic displays shifted to show deep space observations from the galactic rim. Energy signatures that matched precursor warnings about other ancient threats. The swarm had been just the beginning. There are other enemies out there, Anderson reported. Entities that make the swarm look like a minor threat. The precursors left warnings about machine intelligences, energy parasites, and worse things that sleep in the dark between galaxies. The revelation changed everything. Suddenly, the debate about humanity's membership seemed trivial compared to the larger threats facing galactic civilization. How long do we have? Asked Elder Zareth. Unknown, Anderson replied. Some threats might not wake for thousands of years. Others could arrive tomorrow. The precursors' warnings were incomplete. President Carter looked around the chamber at the faces of beings who had spent the morning debating humanity's worthiness. Now they faced a future where such debates were luxuries they couldn't afford. The galaxy needs unity, not division, she declared. Humanity offers our protection to all peaceful species, whether you accept our membership or not. But we also offer something more valuable: partnership. She gestured to her team of experts and military leaders. We have knowledge you need. Technologies that could revolutionize your civilizations. Experience fighting enemies you've never imagined. All we ask in return is the respect we should have received decades ago. The final vote was unanimous. Every species, even the proud Zentari, voted to grant humanity full membership in the Galactic Council. The formal ceremony was simple but profound. President Carter took her oath of office as humanity's first council representative. As she spoke the ancient words of commitment to galactic peace and cooperation, the weight of history settled over the chamber. "I swear to uphold the principles of this council," she declared, "to protect the innocent, defend the weak, and work toward a galaxy where all species can thrive in peace." But as the ceremony concluded, she added words that weren't part of the traditional oath. "And I promise that humanity will stand guard against the darkness. We will be the shield that protects this galaxy from threats beyond your imagination. This is our gift to you and our responsibility to ourselves." Later, as the formal sessions ended, President Carter stood alone in the observation deck looking out at the stars. Admiral Clark joined her there, watching human ships patrol alongside former enemies. "Do you think they truly accept us now?" Clark asked. Carter considered the question carefully. "Some do. Others will need time. But acceptance isn't what matters anymore. What does matter?" She turned to face him, her expression serious but hopeful. "Survival, unity, the chance to build something better than what came before. The precursors left us their technology, but they also left us their responsibility. Through the transparent aluminum windows, they could see ships from dozens of species working together to establish new patrol routes and defense networks. Human technology was